Have you ever wondered why some websites make you keep scrolling even when there's nothing to see? It's not because the animation is flashy, and it's definitely not because it's complex. It works because your brain thinks everything is connected even when it isn't. And once you notice that, you can't unsee it. So this week we are building this deceptively simple scroll animation, the kind that feels way more premium than it has any right to. We'll break down the timing, the structure, and the small decisions that make the motion feel continuous instead of choppy. That's what gives this scroll effect its smooth, premium feel, and that's exactly what we are breaking down in this video. If this saves you an hour of confusion, a like would be fair, and if you want more breakdowns like this, subscribing is probably a good idea. Alright, without further ado, let's jump in. Let's start with the basic document structure. At the very top, we have fixed header containing just 2 span elements for the brand logo. We are keeping this minimal to let the motion take center stage. Right below that is the intro section. Here we are breaking the main headline into 5 separate H1 tags. This gives us individual control over each line, allowing for that staggered entry animation we will script later. Now for the main event, the motion showcase. This is the full screen container that acts as our pinning wrapper. Inside it, we place our first motion block. Think of it as a master slide. We split this block into 3 distinct layers. First is the motion meter. This holds the large typography and the category tags. Second is the motion previews container that holds the column of floating thumbnails on the right. And the third one is the motion stage. This is where the magic happens. We wrap the main background image inside a motion media div. This wrapper is crucial. It will act as the mask for the shutter reveal effect. With the first block build, we simply duplicate the entire structure 2 more times for the perspective and momentum slides. The HTML skeleton remains identical to ensure perfect continuity during the scroll. Finally, at the bottom, we have the manifesto section. Just like the intro, each line of text sits inside its own wrapper, setting the stage for a clean, rising text reveal. So right now it looks like a disaster. Giant images, zero layout. It's ugly, right? But if you leave now, you haven't built a feature, you have built a mistake. So stay put. Let's clean this mess up together using CSS. Alright, first let's establish the foundation. Crucially, on the HTML tag, I'm defining a dynamic root font size based on the viewport width. This is a standard high-end practice. It ensures that as the screen resizes, every single element scales proportionally, preserving our exact layout logic. I'm bringing in mangrove font to keep the typography clean and industrial. For the utilities, I have included the standard Linux CSS classes. We are not touching these, they just ensure our smooth scroll doesn't fight with the browser's native behavior. Now, moving on to the header. We position it fixed at the top. But here's the key detail. We apply mixed blend mode difference. This ensures that as our white text slides over white images later, the logo inverts and remains perfectly legible. Moving down to the intro, we treat this as a rigid editorial layout by manually staggering the padding on specific child elements, pushing the first line 32 rems, 4th line 48 rems, and the 5th line 12 rems. We create that intentional off-grid magazine look. Now, the most critical part, the motion showcase. This container is set to 100 VH and overflow hidden because this is where we will pin the scroll. Inside this, we stack our 3 motion block divs, absolutely on top of each other. Pay attention to the Z index here. We explicitly order them 3, 2, and 1. The stacking order is mandatory. It ensures that the first slide sits on top, ready to be scaled up and clipped away to reveal the second slide underneath. Inside those blocks, we have motion media wrapper. This is the mask we talked about. We set it to relative with overflow hidden, while the image inside is absolute and covers the space. This relationship allows us to resize the wrapper independently of the image, which is the secret to the stutter effect. On the right side, the motion previews hold our floating thumbnails. We position them absolutely and space them out vertically. Later, we will animate this entire column in opposition to the main scroll to create parallax. Finally, the manifesto at the bottom. We simply center the text wrappers because we set overflow hidden on the lines. The text is currently invisible, waiting for GSAP to translate it up into view. And that is it for styling. The messy HTML is now clean. The structure is logged, the masks are in place. Now let's write the JavaScript to get the final effect. Alright, let's load the essentials. I'm registering the ScrollTrigger plugin, which is the engine behind our pinning logic. Then I'm defining a centralized settings object. This holds our main trigger element, the slide containers, and our smooth scroll loop value. Keeping these values here at the top makes tweaking the physics later much faster than hunting through code. I'm also grabbing the manifesto headings right here. We'll need a reference to them for the final reveal at the very end. Next, I'm setting up the master timeline. We are pinning the entire motion circuit section to the viewport. I'm setting the scroll distance to +=8000. This ensures we have a long, comfortable scroll track to play out the animation without it feeling rushed or frantic. Before we animate, we initialize lenience. This is standard boilerplate, but there is one critical line here, syncing the lenience scroll with the GSAP trigger. This ensures that our smooth scrolling and our scroll triggers update on exact same frame. Without this, we get jitter. With it, you get butter. Now, for the main event, the animate media function. First, I'm setting the stage. I'm using GSAP set to push the manifesto text and floating thumbnails down by 100%, effectively hiding them below their containers. I'm also ensuring the media clip paths are fully open to start. Then, I loop through each motion block to build the sequence dynamically. Instead of writing code for every slide, we write the logic once and apply it all. Inside the loop, I scope my selectors. I grab thumbnails, the stage, and the text elements. Here is the choreography inside the loop. First, the thumbnails slide upward, moving in opposition to the scroll. While that is happening, we target the main media and scale it up to 1.2. This creates a slow cinematic push-in effect. Then comes the magic trick, the shutter. I animate the clip path to inset. This wipes the image away from the bottom up, revealing the next slide underneath it. Now, pay attention to the timing offsets here. I'm using 0.5 and 0.2. We never wait for one motion to finish before starting the next. The scale overlaps the wipe, and the wipe overlaps the text exit. This overlapping is what makes the animation feel fluid and organic, rather than robotic. Finally, as the image wipes away, I send the text headings flying up and out to clear the stage for the next section. Once the loop completes and we reach the end of the scroll, I trigger the final act. The manifesto lines, which we hid earlier, rise up into their containers, locking into their place. And that is the logic. We have taken a static, broken layout and turned it into a fluid, pinned, high-end narrative experience using a single timeline and a simple loop. If this helped understanding you the concept, you know what to do. Subscribe for more builds and I'll see you in the next one.